Hi, everyone. So, today there are a lot of opinions about childcare. People talk about the cost, they talk about the hours, and then they talk about what they think happens during the day. But unless you've actually worked inside a childcare center, there's just so many things that people truly don't understand about what we do and in our field. So today, I am pulling back the curtain and sharing real things about childcare that most people actually never see or think to ask. Welcome to Childcare Confidential, the podcast where we talk about the real, raw, and sometimes chaotic world of early childhood education. My name is Katie Dank, and I am one of our fabulous hosts. Typically, I'm joined by Jessica Hampton, my tried and true host. However, this week she decided to be all things house related, more to follow up for next week. However, she's got some cool stuff going on. So it is just me. If you did not know, I am the executive director and oversee two of our child care centers. And every day I get to see the incredible work of what early childhood educators do. Sometimes it is me who's in those classrooms, but other times I just get to kind of stand from the sidelines. So just depends. So up first is our first misconception, and that's that all we do is play with kids. Oh, this part really irritates me because honestly, if you really think all we do is play with kids all day, that's sad on your behalf that you don't even have the decency to look more direct into our passion and our drive and the reason why we love what we do. But first off, play is learning. I don't know who needs to say it louder for the people in the back. I don't know who you need to tell so that they can understand like in a different way or wavelength, but play is learning. Play-based learning is the best way for tiny humans to kind of gain all of that knowledge and really start putting all of those different tasks to work. If they're not playing, I guarantee you that they're not learning. And if they're not learning, what's the point? Okay. Teachers are constantly observing their development. I hear this so often from parents who are like, "Oh, my kiddo is doing X, Y, and Z so much better. I have no idea. Maybe something just clicked." Well, yeah, probably, but at the same time, our teachers are required and they do a fantastic job of ensuring there's assessments done, parent teacher conferences, their weekly folders that they send home, all of their artwork and all of the things that they have been making, creating, completing to send home. That obviously shows that your kiddo has come quite a long way, but more importantly than just that, they're actively learning new things every day. And it could be very small things. I'm not saying that they're learning brand new themes every single day of their life, but the little things that we see are big things to them, and I don't think it's fair to discount that. Lesson planning. Oof. All we do is play with kids, right? Well, why don't you go ahead and let my teachers know that all we do is play with kids, because the lesson plans that they're required to have completed on Wednesday before the upcoming week, that's supposed to have standards now, but all the standards are supposed to be listed on it. There's developmental domains, basically any milestones. This is how we do all of our tracking within the assessments. But yes, all we do is play with kids. But all those lessons and the lesson planning that goes into effect when we do all the things means nothing, right? Managing behaviors. I don't know how many schools in Indiana have, I don't want to say struggled because I think that might be too harsh of an opinion, but how many schools in the state of Indiana who have noticed a really crazy difference in the amount of kiddos that we have that are on the spectrum, have developmental delays, maybe just need a little bit more accommodations than before. I've noticed more in the last 2 years, kiddos coming into public schools or even just like preschools that aren't specifically meant for kiddos with the differing abilities. I'm noticing so many more kiddos coming in and going into group care based facilities, and it's just crazy to me. But once you see some friends who have behavior challenges that are like no other, I doubt you'll think that all we do is play with kids. Okay. And then the social emotional development. This is why I specifically brought up the fact that maybe from an outsider's perspective, you don't see all the things that, like, behind the scenes, we know that kiddos are doing on a day to day basis. But I can tell you that the social emotional aspect of a kid or a student, even a young child, just being in a group school does is night and day difference. It's kind of obscene, if you ask me. When people say all they do is play, what they don't see is that play is actually the foundation of early childhood learning. We're doing language development, we're doing problem solving, we're doing social skills, we're doing emotional regulation. There's so many things that are not just visual for someone who is not able to see that there's more going on a daily basis than that. All right. Misconception two. Childcare is expensive because centers are just worried about making money. Oof. I know that if Jess was currently on this podcast and doing it with me, she would be laughing. She despises when people make this statement because, yeah, I mean, would you be a business if your end goal wasn't to make sure that you provided for your family? No. But when people look at childcare and they're like, those people are making buku bucks, no, we're not. We're just not. It's not happening. You've got staffing costs, which is 100% the largest expense, but I don't think that people put the thought into it to understand that if you want great curriculum, if you want great like activities happening and teachers who really care, you got to pay them. You got to pay the people. And there are some schools that are around here that they're not really being paid their worth. And I think that every facility could do better in that and like element. I'm not going to say that we're just fantastic because I think every school has room for improvement in that accord. But staffing costs are crazy. We spend so much, and that's like the majority of my budget, Jess and I's budget when we sit down to make them, that nobody really kind of puts two and two together. Ratio requirements, that's the other one. People are like, oh, well, if I have 7 kids, like that's not even that many, it should be fine. Well, majority of the age groups in the state of Indiana, 7 kids means you're going to have a minimum of 2 teachers. So 2 teachers means you're going to have to pay 2 staff members to be with those 7 kids. And then depending on how much you're actually charging for said tuition every single week for them, does that even equate? Not really. Plus, we're going to have to take in consideration the licensing requirements, and we all know those aren't cheap because one day the state says that the little baby safe locks were acceptable for the cabinets, and now those are just deterrents. So guess who had to go buy brand new locks for every single cabinet? We did, which is fine, but things like that, you don't get a choice. It's an expense, and you might as well plan for it. Food programs. So Jess and I have giggles about this quite often. Yeah, CACFP is great if you're on it. If you're not, that's the Child and Adult Food Program. It's a federal funded food program, which basically reimburses licensed child care centers to be able to provide healthy meals to students. Super wonderful concept. But it does not cover every aspect of what we're serving to these kiddos, especially not when you try to make very purposeful decisions that's going to be the most beneficial for the tiny humans. So if I want a fruit, vegetable, grain, protein, whatever the case may be, every single meal, that stuff adds up. And it's not cheap. And I can guarantee you that your food program is not, it's not covering that entire thing. I'm sorry, but it's not. Curriculum and supplies. This one makes me chuckle. So I get our notifications for like all of our reports at the end of the month, right? And it's like, you spent this much money on this. You spent this much money on this. Your staff did XYZ. Great. The curriculum and supplies. Our organization runs off of Amazon Business. If you are a childcare owner and you're not currently utilizing Amazon Business, in order to kind of allow your teachers to create wish lists and purchase what they need for activities and art projects and all the things that are coming up, you're missing out. This Amazon Business, there is a super, super easy way, and I'm sure Jess can tell us all about it maybe on another episode, but there's a super easy way to where you're not even charged for it. And so you get Amazon Business for your entire team. You don't pay for it. It makes your life easier. I literally get a notification that says, oh, so and so needs pom poms and popsicle sticks. And I hit approve, and then it comes straight to my door. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So, again, I'm going to make sure that I notate that because I think it would be a very useful opportunity for Jessica to kind of share with us on here how she makes all of that work. But if you're not using it now, I'm telling you, you're missing out. Those curriculum and supplies add up, but it's even more taxing when you're the one that has to direct traffic and make sure everybody has, like, oh, okay, I didn't get a list from so and so. No, no, no. It comes straight to you. Easy. And then insurance. Oh gosh, everybody loves insurance, don't they? No, they don't. Nobody does it all. Thankfully, we have insurance that has not been as much of a headache. We use our tried and true person. They are fantastic, incredible, but that stuff is expensive. And if you have not gotten insurance, or I've heard some other schools that talk about how they don't need that. Well, you do. I don't know how you're running anything without one, but if you don't have insurance, I'm telling you, you need to get the insurance. The truth is, childcare is expensive to run, not because centers are up here just getting rich, but because quality childcare requires people, lots of them, who can wear lots of different hats. There's safety standards, there's ratios, there's training, like there's so many things that go into it. So it's actually not just some kind of money-making scheme. There's a lot that goes into it. And if you have a childcare worker in your life, maybe you're a parent listening, please thank them. I don't think that you understand how much goes into their day and how stressful it probably was. They deserve some kindness. So just keep that in mind. Okay, misconception number 3. Womp womp. It's an easy job. Pfft, of course. Wow, yeah, it sounds really easy. Let me just think about the emotional labor, the constant supervision, the fact that I have to multitask literally everything, the physical demands, because hope you're ready to pick up them kids and do the same thing over on repeat because those kiddos are going to love it, which, yay for you. But it's exhausting. And then also the classroom management. Huh. Weird. It sounds like a really easy job when I just listed off all of those things that sound very taxing. Yay for all of us. Okay. So you're not just supervising the children. No. You're teaching, you're comforting, you're cleaning, you're documenting, you're communicating with parents. But while you're doing all of that, you also have to make sure they're all safe. Okay? No worries. Oh. And then while you're doing all of those things, let's just make sure you're doing it all at the same time. And usually, while someone is crying, someone else needs help in the bathroom, and someone is probably going to ask you something really random. Like, why their carrot was scared of their other food the other night. There's going to be a lot of things happening. I hope that because it's an easy job, you're super ready to take on that task because you're going to need it. Okay. Misconception 4. Teachers just babysit. Of course they do. Duh. They don't do developmental milestones. Oh no, absolutely not. Listen, today is, I think it is. So today is day 4 of one of our small friends in our infant program who just learned how to walk. Isn't that cute? It's my favorite thing. I love the infant room specifically because of those little moments. But so their developmental milestone that they just reached is that they're walking. I'm not a terrible person and neither are my teachers. Do you think that we went up to that parent and said, guess what so-and-so did? No, absolutely not. We did not do that. Instead, we decided that we were going to make sure that when mom got there, she came straight to the classroom and she caught it in the act. She got to see her baby walking. It was incredible. And if we were just babysitters, do you think we would have put that much time and thought into making sure that mom saw that for the first time? That we prepped and encouraged that kiddo to stand while holding something, then walk assisted to now walking unassisted, and then that mom got to walk in and see her beautiful child walking across. Amazing. Let's also discuss the fact that if we're just babysitters, which I really despise that name, our we're doing kindergarten readiness. So if I was just a babysitter, that'd be something that I would be doing is kindergarten readiness. I think not. Behavior guidance. I don't know how many of you have had to talk a 4-year-old down from an absolute like meltdown, but we do it almost daily, and it's an exhausting job. And I don't think that any babysitter would be able to do that. And then the emotional development. My favorite thing to see, and I can speak for some of the other teachers that we have, but one of my favorite things to see is when a kiddo has that aha moment. And what I mean by the aha moment is the moment when they say, oh my gosh, I remember that when I took the car from my friend Timmy, it made him really sad. And when my friend Timmy was really sad, I need to do something that's going to make him not so sad. So they give him something or a hug or they say sorry. Those are not just opportunities that kids just pick up on a whim. No, those are things that are taught. Teachers are teaching young humans how to regulate those emotions. And so if we were just babysitters, that would not be happening. So, wrong again. Childcare teachers are often the very first teacher that a child ever has. They're helping shape how children learn, communicate, and even interact with the world. And I'm sorry, but I can very vastly tell the difference between a kiddo who has been in a center and not even licensed, just in a group facility of some sort, compared to one that has not. It is a night and day difference, and it's crazy. Oh, what childcare professionals would really love people to know. Now, I like this piece because I did my research, friends, and I asked some of my teachers. I had a conversation. I sat down with some of them and I said, I want to hear from you. I want to know what you, because I mean, I know what I would want, as a childcare professional, but them being the hard workers that are in the classroom, that are working their tails off every single day, I wanted to ask. And here's the feedback I got back. What childcare professionals wish people really knew was that they love the children deeply and honestly. And I don't know about you, but I can tell you as a mom myself, the fact that there are teachers out there that love my child like they would love their own gives me such like reassurance and comfort and calmness. I just know that they're safe and well taken care of and loved. And I know that, one of my teachers that I asked this question to said that they want people to know they love the children deeply. But I can honestly say that they show me that every single day. They show me how much they love those kiddos, and I can see it. And I know most of our parents can as well. Okay. What childcare professionals wish people really knew? They are professionals. Ooh, we are big sticklers for this. This is where we have like ID badges, we wear business casual, or we wear like one of our work t-shirts with some nice jeans. But our teachers are professionals. They create their lessons themselves. They are the face of their classroom. They get to decorate and set a plan for their classroom and really take that autonomy on. But they are professionals and they deserve to be treated as such. All right. They deserve respect and fair pay. I couldn't agree more. I think anybody and everybody deserve respect. I feel like once you're giving it, you deserve to receive it. And maybe even sometimes if you're not necessarily given it, you should, or if you're receiving it, you should still give it because you never know what somebody else is going through, but that's a different conversation for a different day. And fair pay. This is what we were kind of discussing about some of those other schools that are kind of around our area. Some of these teachers are not being paid. I wouldn't even say fair, but I know they're not being paid what they're worth. I think that's a better way to phrase it. So if as a childcare provider, this is something that you're like resonating with and you think you deserve respect and fair pay, but you're currently at a facility that you don't feel like you're receiving that, make sure you advocate for yourself because you do deserve more and you do deserve better. And we hope you know that. And then, this one always melts my heart. And once I asked my teacher, I'm not going to give any names because, again, we're childcare confidential, of course. But this last teacher of mine said, what childcare professionals wish people knew is that their work shapes the future. Is that not just like something that fills your whole heart up with smiles and sunshine? Because I know it does for me. Um, yeah, everything that we do in this field is going to shape the future. You don't think that if little Tommy doesn't learn how to regulate his anger, that that's not going to be some kind of more of a difficult challenge for them when they get older? Of course it is. You think that my little friend who loves to argue, if I don't blossom, nurture, encourage, and all the things that's not going to grow and grow into some kind of new curiosity that eventually could turn into them being some kind of weird fancy politician. It really could. You don't know. Childcare teachers are doing some of the most important work in our communities, and I think that more people who are not in our field, I wish that they could take that and really see it, because we do deserve respect. We do deserve people to understand that we're professionals. We deserve fair pay, and we deserve for parents to truly understand that we love your children like you love your children. Okay. Um, because in my current role, I am the executive director for two of our locations. There are some things that I think are important when it comes to perspectives, I guess. I think it's important to support teachers. I think it's important to not be their friend, because I don't think that you could be friends with your people. I really don't, and I'm sorry if that's something that stings or rubs people the wrong way, but I have love, great love for my staff. I think of them like family, but we are not friends, because you cannot be friends with the people that you supervise. You cannot be friends with people that you lead, because that makes things just way too funky. Um, I do believe in balancing family needs. I understand if I have a staff member that didn't necessarily give me a 2 week heads up, but they've got a family something that's coming up, and they're not really one that ever takes time off, and they're just trying to do what they can to take care of their family and the people who need them. 100%, I'm going to meet you halfway, because I think that you deserve that. I think that you go above and beyond, and I want you to make sure that you know your family is going to need you, and family comes first, of course. And then I believe in keeping programs high quality. This is something that I'm very passionate about. Um, Jessica and I have related on this since the moment that we've met. But high quality in education is honestly getting harder and harder in some of our schools. And I know it's because of the funding cuts, and I know it's because of the staffing shortages, and I know it's because of all of these outside, controllables. And I totally get that. But the day that you stop pushing high quality in your facility is the day you basically give up. I push for high quality because I feel like our kids deserve it. And I will honestly, in my entire early childhood career, will push for high quality forever, without a doubt. And then last but not least, I believe in regulations and safety. You can ask anybody, but I am a policy follower. I love the rules because they're very cut and dry. Safety, of course, I feel like that's like a non-negotiable. I just listed it because, I mean, sometimes I think people maybe forget that safety is an important aspect to consider, but it is definitely something that I push and that I believe in, and that's how we run our schools. Behind the scenes, directors are constantly balancing quality, staffing, regulations, and making sure every child and teacher has what they need. Sometimes I feel like we forget that there is so much going on. You got to go back to the pieces that you believe in and how you want to lead. That's how I always think about it. If you're a child care teacher listening to today's episode, I hope that you know the work you do matters more than people realize. You're shaping tiny humans during the most important years of their lives. And if you're a parent that's listening, because I do know that we recently had some more of our parents from our schools start following us, so shout out to them. We appreciate you. But if you're a parent listening, thank you for trusting childcare professionals with the most important people in your whole world. We're honored. Childcare is not babysitting, and I'll say it louder for people in the back if you want. It's also not daycare. I despise that word. But childcare is not babysitting. It's education. It's safety. It's emotional support. It's development, and all of that is happening before most people even start their workday. So, if you ever need to think about it again, and you're like, I wonder what they even do all day, just know we do a lot. We work hard. We want to make you happy. We want to make your kids happy. We love what we do. We have a passion for what we do. It's not, childcare is not for the weak, and early childhood education is not a job. So I'm sure people have heard people say that in the past, but it really isn't. Childcare is not a job. Childcare is a passion. Childcare is a drive. I feel like you're born to work with small humans and you're born to lead small humans. And if you're not, then I don't know that this is the field for you. But as always, thank you again for listening. We hope that you like, follow, and share. My name is Katie. I'm hoping that my tried and true Jessica is back next week, but we shall see how the cards unfold. Until next time, we will see you. Thank you. Bye.